Amari Cooper ends up playing, a bit of a surprise after, not a lot of optimism there. He ends up playing, has 7 catches on 10 targets for 90 yards. But I think the bigger story from the wide receivers was on the Steelers side, where George Pickens only caught 4 of his 10 targets, but it was for 127 yards and a touchdown, Barry, and he had one of the most explosive plays we've seen from this offense in quite some time.
Yeah, and I know everyone's dumping on Kenny Pickett, but whatever. They played the Browns and the Niners the first 2 games. Like, I'm not ready to bail on Kenny Pickett or the Steelers offense. I'm a little nervous about Pat Freiermuth. It's been a very slow start to him, but this is what Pickens is. It was good to see, kind of like, hey, we got the news before the game that Deontay Johnson officially placed on IR. He's going to miss at least the next 3 games. So I assume game last night counted as one of the games. That's why they made the move just before the game. But so he'll miss at least the next 3 games. So it will be the George Pickens show. Again, I think this is such a tough game to really, make any, real analysis from because of the defense. But, his 94% route participation led the team, career high in receiving yards in a single game, 34.5% target share, to your point, and an unbelievable highlight-worthy catch. He's George Pickens, the reason we like him.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 3 with upside moving forward.
This is a very weird game. I think I might be ready to bail on Kenny Pickett. To be honest, he looks terrible through the first 2 weeks. And Deshaun Watson was bad last night. Kenny Pickett, I think, was worse. Kenny Pickett had a 12 QBR, narrowly edged by Deshaun Watson's 16 QBR. It's a scale of 0 to 100, by the way. Look, the Steelers, they only had 24 minutes in terms of time of possession. They only ran 53 plays. They didn't really get out there. I do think Calvin Austin is kind of interesting, and we might talk about him, but he's seeing a lot of snaps. He's kind of replacing Deontay Johnson on the outside, but this offense looks broken at the moment.
I'm not. The only thing I might say and Kenny Pickett's only rostered in very deep leagues, 2 quarterback leagues, whatever. But can I change your mind if I tell you this? Here's their upcoming schedule: at Las Vegas, on Sunday Night Football right here on NBC and Peacock. Let's go! The Kenny Pickett redemption happens Sunday night. Then home to Houston.
Okay.
So 2 games. I mean, again, Niners, Browns, now Vegas and Houston.
Yeah, potentially. I think that, the problem is that even when he's not under pressure, he's just missing wide open guys. But he has time and he's young.
Feels like he doesn't trust that offensive line.
Yeah.
He's really working through it. Now, obviously, their backfield is getting more interesting, too, by the day, because Najee Harris, besides the 2 big runs towards the end of the game, not a great night for Najee Harris. He ends up with 10 carries, 43 yards, only 1 catch, didn't result in any yards. Jaylen Warren ultimately has 4 catches for 66 yards. It is safe to say Jaylen Warren is making the most of his touches, while it feels like right now, Jay, Najee Harris is not.
I'll tell you what, if Najee Harris doesn't have those 2 20-yard runs, I think at the start of the fourth
great,
quarter, then
still.
all of a sudden I think that Jaylen Warren might be the starter. But just with what he gives you in the receiving game, he just looks more explosive. It just looks like he's running downhill a lot more than Najee Harris, so I wouldn't be surprised, Matthew, if that flips at some point and Jaylen Warren's the guy.
Well, the only thing you're counting on Najee Harris is you're hoping he falls into the end zone because he's getting no passing game usage here. He got 1 reception for 0 yards in this. Meanwhile, to your point, Jaylen Warren 4 for 66 in the passing game, 20% target share in week 2. He's had 6 targets in both games this season. Like, one of the things that kind of kept Najee Harris afloat, when he came into the league was Ben just couldn't throw, and he would just dump off to Najee Harris. That's not the case so far. Since the start of last season, Najee Harris has 2 games, literally only 2 games, with 16 or more fantasy points. For a guy that was drafted as a number 2 running back in fantasy, and I know he dropped towards the end, and I know you got him in the 6th round in our league, but in all seriousness, how are you feeling about him, 6th round Najee Harris right now, 2 games in?
Feeling terrible because not only does he look bad, but the offensive line, they just had no chance. They're running up the gut with Najee Harris. It's like, all right, well, hopefully he doesn't get tackled for a loss. That's
Second
basically what you're going for. Yeah, it's not looking good.
Again, Vegas and Houston the next 2, then the Ravens and the Rams. So, but the next 2, I think they can get. Hopefully the entire Steelers offense can get on track. But yes, this is why we said in the preseason we prefer Jaylen Warren at cost to Najee Harris. And Jaylen Warren, who is not 100% rostered, so just he's well over 50%. But if for some reason he's somehow available in your league, you try to go get him. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com. And I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched. Or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own, Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.